you to not stop moving. As I close, let me remind the learners and quote from Duckworth, who wrote that without effort, talent is nothing more than just your unmet potential. Without effort, your skill is nothing more than what you could have done but didn't. So tonight, you have proven that you are able. And I therefore say to you, go out there and conquer. I thank you.
Thank you very much to you, CEO. Certainly do appreciate that address. One of the issues you spoke about was some of the challenges that students have faced throughout. And certainly during the time of the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen how much the students have been challenged by it. But certainly, as the example is today, some have risen above so many of those challenges. I'd like to, at this point, welcome onto the stage someone who knows very much and very intimately about some of those challenges that the students have faced and has been at the forefront, certainly, of the Education Department, and that is the Deputy Minister of Education, Dr. Reginah Mhaule, who will give us our opening remarks for this evening.
Program Director, thank you very much for this opportunity. Greetings to the Minister of Basic Education, May Angelina Motshekga, MECs of Education in all our 9 provinces. They are almost all here today. Heads of departments, the Honorable Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee and the Select Committee of Education. I believe that they are here also, and members of the Portfolio Committee, because without them, would not be announcing the results today. The DG, Umampindile Baleni, in the presidency, the DG of the Department of Basic Education, Ubaba Umatanzima Muweli, Abo HOD, I had already said that, the Chairperson of MTN Foundation, Ubaba Musibudi Mangena, the CEO of MTN, all other chairpersons and CEOs and top managers of the private sector that are in partnership with the Department of Basic Education, which I believe they are present today here. Chairpersons and board members and senior management of Umalusi, SACE, and NECT. District directors, organized labor, academics that are present here. Minister, I'm told that there are university professors and lecturers in our midst. Organized labor, learner representative council, teachers that are present, learners, and parents who have accompanied the cream of our country. And finally, greetings to our learners, the stars of South Africa that are present today here. Let me also greet members of the media. I know they're here. Minister was saying they take good news today. We're not fighting over any other things, but we're just communicating to the nation what is happening today here. It's an honor for me, Minister. The CEO has already welcomed us, but just to officially declare this meeting open and acknowledge all distinguished guests who are all very important. Without you, this event was not going to be an event. So you are all very important. You are all our VIPs, though we have the triple VIPs, our stars. So we're here today. We have attended the announcement of the NSC examination results by Minister Motshekga, and present in our midst today is learners who are the pride of our nation, the parents caregivers, educators, principals, education mandarins, academics, and education professionals, and political leadership fraternity. Our nation and our government is proud of the class of 2022 on their achievement, especially as these are learners who have endured many challenges along the way to get this far. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a privilege and an honor to serve in this portfolio with our hardworking minister who continued to give guidance to the Department of Basic Education, as technically we are going to call her the founder of the department, because we never had the department called Department of Basic Education prior to 2009, and the first minister of that portfolio is Minister Angelina Motshekga. Indeed, this is yet another tough year where we discharge our leadership responsibilities under the able guidance of the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency, Mr. Matamela Ramaphosa, which we truly appreciate his support. In the same breath, we also send our gratitude to cabinet and executive members, the members of the portfolio committee. Yes, we are in the national space, but we also appreciate the portfolio committees of provinces as well as the National Council of Provinces. We may recall that when the President of the Republic of South Africa, His Excellency, Mr. Matamela Ramaphosa, declared COVID-19 a national state of disaster in 2020, we in the basic education sector resolved to work even harder to find solutions for our education system to ensure the use of innovative means, including the use of information and communication technologies and other methods to impart teaching and learning to our matriculants and other lower grades, and hence were able to outlive the peril caused by the pandemic. Want to thank all South Africans who supported the department to say, even in the midst of the COVID-19, like we'll all know that this class was double affected, because they were affected when they were doing grade 10 and grade 11, where they have to undergo a trimmed curriculum. But want to thank the collective support from all partners that we supported this class, and the class today we are celebrating their efforts. I wish to remind all of you that Minister Motshekga, this year, 2023, is turning 14 years in the department, and she has steering the department to the right direction. We saw her starting it from low to greater heights, which we believe that even this year, she will give us good results. I thought we were going to clap hands for this dynamic woman, this dynamic, visionary, hardworking woman. The sector did everything in its power to, under her leadership, you will all recall, there was a fight at some stage that schools must not close, schools must not open. She insisted. At some times, she became the lone voice. Myself and MECs would gossip behind her back to say, hey, it's dangerous for the children to go to school. And when she comes to a meeting, she said, DM, let's open schools. Children will be safe in our schools. And indeed, we saw that her visionary leadership led the sector to where it is today. Because had we allowed the sector to collapse, to pick it up, it's a nightmare. So, as I welcome you today, I'm glad to say that the worst is over. We have triumphed against the doom and gloom that engulfed our sector. In the words of former British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, in the midst of a war, he said, we'll prove ourselves once again able to defend our island home to ride out the storm of war and to outlive the menace of tyranny, if necessary for years, and if necessary, alone. Indeed, we collectively triumphed, and the victory belongs to every one of us, learners, parents, organized labor, business, everybody. No one can claim victory alone. We worked as a team. So for those who have passed, opportunities for funding in higher educations are abound. Potential students who intend to enroll at a public higher education institution can still apply to the National Student Financial Aid for funding, and NSFAS provides loans and bursaries to needy and deserving students. For those who did not make it in this round of assessment, they mustn't despair. If they don't achieve the results they had hoped for, there's still life. We're appealing to all our learners outside there, those who may not make it, that there is life and they will be given a second chance. The Department of Basic Education is a caring department, and some of the results which Minister is going to announce today are speaking to that. Those learners that were given an opportunity, given a second chance. Rome was not built in a day, so we must understand that. But we congratulate all those who made it. Ladies and gentlemen, you are all officially welcome to the announcement of the 2022 matric results.
Deputy Minister, thank you so very much for that, Dr. Regina Mohaule, with the opening remarks, and certainly they are welcoming all of us once again here. Before we have the main address by the Minister of Basic Education, Angie Motshekga, I'd like to point you to our screens. I do believe there is a short clip, a short video that the Department of Education wanted us to take a look at. Be some sound on that, but nonetheless, before we bring the minister onto the podium, Minister, I want to give you a bit of a break before you come onto the podium. I know you've had some flack, and I've seen it on social media. I myself gave your spokesperson, Elijah Mhlanga, a tough time about it on air. There have been a lot of questions pertaining to why everything is being delayed, why is everything being done so late. And you recall that, the program started last year quite late. And so everything, it's a domino effect, and everything else had to be pushed back due to the impact of COVID-19. So, of course, this is something that we're still living with, and it's still giving us those many challenges. So I know the minister would have probably want to address that, and that's fine. But I thought, let me give you a break, since I did give your spokesperson a tough time on air regarding this, as I'd seen that this was quite a pertinent question that people had been asking. For now, let's welcome then on the podium for the main address, the Minister of Basic Education, and certainly, as Deputy Minister said, at the forefront and certainly fighting for the education of our learners throughout, Minister Angie Motshekga.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Program Director. Let me acknowledge my colleague, the Deputy Minister, Dr. Mohaule. Acknowledge the MECs, there's a full house. Thank you very much, Spelel. All 9 MECs are here. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. Also, I see members of parliament from different political parties. Thank you very much for honoring us here with your presence. I also saw the mayor and members of different councils. I also want to acknowledge our partners who are here, especially UMTN Muregi of tonight, our main sponsor. I want to acknowledge all the CEOs. I see quite a number of them, Abu Babu Nwasan and all the other CEOs that are here. DG, senior officials from different, also DGs from, or heads of department from different provinces. I want to acknowledge Uma Lucy, says the ELRC, the NECT, led by Babu Sizwe Nxasana, but also the DG from the presidency. We really feel honored and supported. I also had an encounter with with SGPs during the day, but also want to acknowledge your presence. Our key partners, teachers, thank you very much also. And also during the day, we interacted with parents, with caregivers, and thank you very much again for honoring us with your presence and accompanying your learners. But more important also, Bo Singabo, Tobel, Molweni sanibonani realocha, Dimategwan, nothing to you. Okay. Today, indeed, Program Director, we are gathered here to announce the 2022 National Senior Certificate exams. We are announcing the 2022 exams, mindful of the reality that at the heart of any development within the basic education sector, the key thing is what learners learn. This point is clearly articulated in our Action Plan 2019 towards the realization of Schooling 2030, the National Development Plan, Continental Education Strategy for Africa, the African Agenda 2063, but also SDG 4 from UNESCO. It continues to be of great significance for South African development that learning outcomes are going to reliable, standardized testing programs such as SACMEC, which stands for Southern East African Consortium for Monitoring Equality Education. Also, studies that come or reports that come from PILS, which stands for Progress in International Reading Literacy Study, and reports that come from TIMS, which is Trends in International Maths and Science Studies, that all of them indicate that our system has been improving steadily over the years. But equally, the devastating effects of COVID-19 pandemic on teaching and learning continue to be of great concern for us as a sector. We want to concede upfront that before the advent of COVID-19, the trajectory for improvement as demonstrated through all these other bodies has undoubtedly been interrupted by the pandemic. As government, especially the Department of Basic Education, together with our provincial leaders who are all here, I must repeat that I'm very excited to have all of my colleagues present here. We have placed the highest priority on regaining the lost ground and returning schooling system to its earlier improvement trajectory. On the scope and size of the 2022 National Senior Exams, we wish to inform our country and our people that in addition to managing NSC exams for more than 920,000 candidates who wrote the senior exams, we had to set 162 question papers. We printed 10.4 million question papers. We produced 9.8 million scripts, which were delivered to 6,900 centers. We engaged 73,000 invigilators and had engaged 52,000 markers. And I'm saying all this to really explain the size and the complexity of running the system. Program Director, ladies and gentlemen, Uma Lucy, the quality assured the results of 2022 national exams. They had 4 bodies to acknowledge or to administer, which is your Department of Basic Education, Department of Higher Examination, the Independent Examination Board, and the South African Comprehensive Assessment Institute, And we really wish to congratulate the IEB students and IEB institutions for continuing with great work and great results that they produce annually. So some of the features of the 2022 NEC exams include a high degree of stability in the system. Albeit the irregularities reported in a few provinces, there was much improvement in terms of data collection, data analysis, and data feedback processes. And really would wish that most people, or all of you, should go to our website and get a full analysis, which we are not able to share with you now. But it gives very interesting studies in terms of most areas that will be concerned around in education. But it shows a maturing and resilient system which is on the rise. Program Director and gentlemen, we indeed are happy to inform the nation that on Monday, the 16th of January, 2023, Umalusi, our Quality Council in General and Further Education and Training, did declare, and I quote, "The examinations were administered largely in accordance with the regulations pertaining to conduct, administration, and management of NSC. The irregularities identified during the writing and marking of the examinations were not systemic and therefore did not compromise the overall credibility and integrity of the November 2022 exam administered by DBE. So the Executive Committee of Umalusi therefore approved the release of DBE November 22 NSC exams," and I close quote. Indeed, Umalusi commended the DBE for conducting such a successful examination on a large scale. What is unique about the class of 2022? Program Director, ladies and gentlemen, facts show that the class of 2022 is the 15th cohort of learners who sat for the National Senior Certificate and the 9th cohort to be exposed to the CAPS curriculum. They were part, which I think also explains their resilience, that in 2010, they are the first group that was in grade R after it was introduced, because they came into the system in 2011. And in 2010, we started rolling in grade R. So the foundations for learning these young people were exposed to in grade R included motor skills, perceptual skills, problem solving, basic numeracy, self-regulation, executive functioning, and the love for learning. Coincidentally, 2010 was 2 years after the introduction of the National Senior Certificate. So this cohort also presented 12 new subject offerings. They are a group that has been part of the South African Sign Language as a home language, written by 210 learners. They are a cohort that took civil technologies, mechanical technologies, and electric technologies, each with 3 main subjects, as well as technical maths, technical science, and it was presented by 52,095 learners. So the total number of learners who registered for 2022 NSC exams were 922,034, which was an increase of 2.6 from last year. We also saw or witnessed this year that we also had an increase in terms of the number of part-time learners who also registered for exams, which is very encouraging to see young people taking opportunities for the second chance that is there. So in 2020 and 2021, when we monitored this cohort, it was quite clear that this is one of the most resilient cohorts that we've had, because we've been tracking all our learners grade by grade, phase by phase. In 2010, when we tracked this current class, when they were in grade 10, they were functioning or they were operating at 78.8% at grade 10. In 2020, when they were in grade 11, they were operating at 80%, despite the fact that they only came back to school later in 2019. And last year, in the first term, they were at 78.8%. So the performance of this cohort remained relatively high, despite all the challenges that faced them. For this class of 2022, Basic Education also deployed a dedicated and customized support programs to ensure that all learners are provided with optimum opportunities to achieve a senior certificate. And the details of the learner support programs with their distinct features are contained in a report. Again, you can find them in our website, but some of them have already been mentioned by the CEO, that for instance, MTN had your e-school, Vodacom also had its program, different companies, banks also supported us with an overwhelming support for the first time in a way that it has never happened before, of support from the private sector, but also institutions of higher learning. Also on reporting on learners with special education needs, we strongly believe that an inclusive education system makes an immense contribution towards an inclusive economy that serves an inclusive society. So providing learners with special education needs access to quality basic education program is an imperative. It's based on the constitutional social justice principles of equity, inclusivity, and redress, amongst others. We have, for the past few years, included learners with special education needs in tracking learner performance in the NSC exams. This year, 1,132 learners with special education needs enrolled for 2022. And again, Program Director, it was a decline when I engaged the HOD to check why we have lesser figures, and he explained to me that learners with special education needs are now opting to go for mainstream exams. Normally, they were allowed to go for 5 exams and be given an NSC certificate. So quite a number of them are opting for 7 subjects so that they get a full credit of a matric certificate. So that's why we're beginning to see a decline in the number of learners with special needs who get a different program. We also want to report on the benefits or also on performance of your pro-poor schools, or to really track the pro-poor policies of government on the NSC results. The 2022 NSC passes for quintals 1 to 3, which are schools that don't have no-fee schools. 387,000 of these learners passed, which is an increase of 9.2% of learners from poor areas making passes. We also are tracking down the dropout rates, because indeed it has become a national concern, and that's understandably so, to really reflect on the efficiencies of the system, because your retention and your dropout rates also are a reflection of whether your system is efficient enough. This is indeed very encouraging. There is very encouraging developments of our country, and it must be stated that the 775,630 learners were retained right to grade 12 in 2022, from amongst the 1.2 million that is there. So showing a great survival rate amongst others. Program directors, ladies and gentlemen, 2 years after the class of 2022 had entered schooling in 2011, DB did publish a report entitled The Internal Efficiency of School System, a report of selected aspects of access to education in grade, a report of selected aspects of access to education, grade repetition, and learner performance. And we did this 10 years back, and DG, you can assure the president, because he's been raising lots of concerns about dropout rates, repetition rates, and the efficiency of the system. We've committed ourselves that we'll do another study this year, which is going to be scientific, independently commissioned, to again track down our efficiencies or inefficiencies and identify where are the areas where intervention is required. Though we have a report from State South Africa, again, that report is available for people to browse through, but as a sector, we will also commission another study which really looks at this area of repetition rates. But we can say with confidence, in the past recent years, numbers of learners reaching grade 12 have increased progressively. We therefore can confidently conclude that over the years, we're incrementally improving learner retention in the system. It is therefore no wonder that the class of 2022 has improved, a signal that our system is incrementally addressing the concerns related to dropout and repetition rates that are amplified in the National Development Plan, but have been raised by a number of South Africans, and hence we've taken a decision that this year we will have a scientific report which objectively reports on this matter of efficiency in the system. So on candidates also, because we also monitor the candidates who are social grant recipients. We must indicate that we had young people who were recipients of social grants and young people who are in correctional facilities who wrote the 2022 national exam. And we can proudly report that again in this year, they've improved with 9% as compared to last year. Also, candidates who were in the correctional facilities also performed quite impressively, with 95% of them passing and people saying, full time, they have all the time and all the time. So that's why they have this amazing pass of 95.9%. But for that, we congratulate and we're very proud of them. And there were also 37.3% of part-time young people in correctional services who wrote the national exam and passed their exams this year. We also do aggregate, always look at gender disparities or equities between boys and girls, and can report that indeed this year we had 326,894 girls in the system, which is an increase of 10% from last year. And we have 253,660 boys who were in the system, an improvement of 5.4%, but meaning that we are retaining, in this instance, more girls as compared to boys. But when it comes to results, those boys have got boys' room and they don't make tea. So they still outperform the girl learners in terms of bachelor passes. So in looking for equity, we look at how we protect the boy child from dropping, but also protect the girl child to make sure that the girl child succeeds all the time. So program director, it brings us to a main thing. I thought that's the only opportunity we talk education. So let's get to the essence of what brings us here. I need MECs. Okay. So it brings me to the overall results of 2022. I need to check, that's what you want. Ladies and gentlemen, it is important to remind the nation that for the past 10 years, the NEC pass rate has consistently been going up from 60% in 2009, it went to 70%, and the matric class of 2022 must be commended for maintaining this trend despite the astronomical challenges they faced during the year because of COVID, load shedding. Most students were asking, what are you going to do with load shedding? I said, I'll do what you can do because I'm just as helpless as you are. But we survived. The sporadic service delivery, which are also very depressing in our communities. So program director, colleagues, the 2022 NEC exam pass rate has reached 80.1%. The second highest since 2019, which is an improvement of 3.7% from last year. The number of bachelor passes has increased. It's an improvement of 8.9%. The number of diploma passes has improved, so it means there's an improvement to the left and really getting lesser and lesser students passing from the side. But we must state that, let me see, KZ, and I did tell you when I was with you that there's a Natal surprise. There's a Natal surprise. We must state that Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal did contribute most bachelor passes, an increase of 4.1%. And again, in the report that is on the website, we'll be able to indicate how different provinces in different areas have outperformed, because we're competing ourselves with ourselves, so we're not competing province by province, so every province is competing with itself. So in different areas, we can trace which provinces are able to retain learners more, who stay in the system, which province really has more learners doing maths and science, which province has, and all those other categories. That basket is there, and what is interesting is that different provinces have different strengths, and I am looking forward again to our meetings where we can share experiences in terms of those different strengths. So the number of candidates who passed with a diploma is 197,357, an improvement of 8.9%, which constitute 26.7%. Then the number of learners who passed with a higher certificate is 108,159, which constitute 14.9%, an improvement on 4.1%. And the number of candidates who passed with an endorsement, if people want to say anything negative about what 30% passed, 117. So we're saying 278,815 got bachelors. And we're saying 170, not even 1,000, which only is 13% improvement passed with an NEC endorsement certificate. So when you complain about 30%, bakhuluma abantu abayi 117 as compared to abantu abayi 300 and so. But I don't want to get into the defensive because all my colleagues are here. Let's talk about provinces. But the spirit is that all provinces have improved, all of them. All of the provinces have improved. And as I say here, what we are reporting, it's improvement in terms of numerical numbers. But in terms of a comprehensive basket, different provinces are performing at different levels, and that is found in our main report. We say which provinces has more kids taking passed in bachelors, which province has more learners taking maths and science, which province is able to retain more learners as compared to the others. This is a percentage in terms of numbers, so it's only one criteria that we're using, but we've used it, so let's continue on the trend until such time we're able to report also on this comprehensive basket. The Free State, the data again is leading at 88.5%. Repeat it at 2.8%. Gauteng, that children performed at 84.4%, which is an increase of 1.6% from 2021. And the KwaZulu surprise, it had the biggest improvement at 6.2% from last year, which put them at 83%. The Western Cape comes next at 81.4%, again with an increase of 0.2% from last year. Northwest, the new MEC, it has also improved with 1.6%, which puts Northwest at 79.8. The third best improved province that took at is the Eastern Cape. Oh, Eastern Cape. It has achieved 77.3%, which is an improvement of 4.2%. In Mpumalanga, MEC Majuba achieved 76.8%, which is an increase of 2.9%. The Northern Cape achieved 74.2%, which is an increase of 2.7%. And Limpopo is the second best improved province and has achieved what it has been threatening us, that they're going to go out of the 60s, they're going to the 70s. So Limpopo stands at 72.1% with an improvement of 5.3. And what also I think heartens us is that, Program Director, we can also report that none of our provinces performed below 70%. And none of our provinces declined in results. All provinces, as I said, had one type or the other of improvement. The NDP recognizes districts as a crucial interface of the basic education sector in identifying best practice, sharing information, and providing support to schools. So the continued growth in the performance of districts is also closely monitored and evaluated by both provincial and national departments. So from the monitoring oversight, analysis and performance of all schools, the fee-paying school, the non-fee paying schools, subsidized and independent schools whose learners write NSC exams, especially schools and schools of skills, will be done and made available to districts. Again, we'll give them analysis of really how they've performed differently. But our ongoing district meetings with district directors where we share information, we share experiences, we will also continue to meet to enable districts to reprioritize their support and intervention programs. So in the 2022 NEC exams, 9 of our districts attained less than 70%, whereas last year we had districts that performed less than 70%. So I'll just list top districts per province, not national. In the Free State, Muteo is leading at 90.8%. And the second one again, it's in the Free State, Veziletag, at 90.4%. The third leading district is Johannesburg West in Gauteng at 89.7%. Swanel South, let me see Gauteng, it used to be the shining star. It's number 4 at 87.7%. Harib in the Free State is also the 6th leading district at 87.5. And the 4th and the last district of the Free State, Thabo Mofokeng, comes in at 87.3%. In KZN is Ugu, province Kamalungu, at 87.2%, whereas MC Zolo must be here, so province the Kokwelo must be here. The 9th is Umkhanyakude in KZN at 86.3%, and the 10th district is Gauteng at 86.2%. And as you can see, of the 75 districts, the top 10 is dominated by 3 provinces. But also what we found more impressive and quite notable is that 4 of the Free State districts, 4 of Gauteng districts, and 2 in KZN. And now the performance of districts per province. In the Eastern Cape, Alfred Nzo is leading. In the Eastern Cape, it's Alfred Nzo, Sibulelo Tatumbangeni. In the Free State, the leading district, as we said, it's Muteo, Klewenta Temuloi. I can imagine his energy and all the other things he brings with, Klewenta Temuloi. In Gauteng, Johannesburg West is the leading district at 89.7%. Thank Tate Ramukwasi. In Ugu, as I say, Jabonga, Sbia, 87.2%. Bukhalakwena in Limpopo is the leading district. Buhlabelo in Mpumalanga is the leading district. And Bujanala in the Northwest is a leading district. We must thank me, Paledi. And in the Northern Cape is ZF Nkau, leading at 83.8%. And in the Eastern Cape is Metro North, which is leading at 85.9%. So ladies and gentlemen, we observe that there are districts that are not performing optimally and some schools that are not performing optimally. With the MECs, we'll have to go back to even understand why, after putting all the efforts we've been putting in other places and they've been paying dividends, some schools are just unable to get themselves from the poor performance category. So I wish to urge our provincial departments of education to pay particular attention to these districts and schools and assist them to the extent necessary. The fact that none of our districts are performing below 60, it is a clear indication that all our districts, with an extra nudge, support, and intervention, can cross this Rubicon and perform above 70%. And I'm looking forward to our next meeting as MECs, and we correct. We could meet tonight. We correct, it's a full meeting. I'm looking forward to our next district meetings. I know you all have to go and announce your results tomorrow. Otherwise, I would say, let's do a 12 down and meet and finish all the things we need to do. So in conclusion, Program Director, ladies and gentlemen, there's no doubt that our system continues on an upward trajectory with a desired stability, which is healthy for a large and important system as ours. The unquestionable resilience of our school community has shown against such a devastating pandemic and other challenges such as persistent load shedding, sporadic service delivery, which are also very depressing, and I do hope our committees are going to pull up. And I must say, Program Director, I was very happy this year when I visited schools. There were less incidents of break-ins in schools in all provinces, which I think, and I hope, is a reflection that our committees are beginning to hear or respect the fact that schools are, this is what you don't go near, because if you want to tamper with any pest or any animal, go to where the children are. And this is where our children are. And people should not at all be tempted to take whatever difficulties they have to our schools. Clearly, the system cannot survive without the direct involvement of all communities of trust. And that's why I was very happy this year when we did these school visits that communities really poured into our schools. I visited schools and came across young parents who have stepped up to support our schools. We have committees supporting our schools. We have counselors and really different community people coming to our schools. And for that, we are very grateful and very appreciative. The class of 2022 has clearly demonstrated that with all requisite support and intervention programs, we can make it. We must prioritize our interventions on teaching and learning losses. Support and intervention programs must be implemented across the system. The early childhood development is with us now. Therefore, the foundations of learning must be strengthened from ECD right through the system. With our concerted efforts, we can make it and reach our performance heights in national, continental, and international assessment studies. Apologies. Steadily but surely, we are improving the throughput rate as well as the retention rates in our system. We wish to recognize the confidence our communities have in our ordinary public schooling. The high quality passes we have achieved this year, especially the record number of bachelor diploma passes, as well as passes with distinction, the fact that none of our provinces are performing below 70% and half of our schools are performing above 80% is a testimony that ours indeed is a growing system. Ladies and gentlemen, as a sector, we must continue to expand our energies on our sector priorities. We must continue with the consolidation of the ECD programs. We must ramp up the performance of all the phases of our schooling system. We must continue to improve the reading proficiency and numeracy of our learners. We must work harder but smarter with all our partners to consolidate the gains we have made in the skills revolution through our three-stream curriculum. And indeed, we must continue to strengthen our assessment regime in all phases of the system and must do whatever it takes to sustain the labor peace that we have enjoyed greatly. And for that, I'm really humbled and very grateful to our teachers and our parents for ensuring that whatever difficulties we have, we resolve and discuss them and deal with them without disrupting the system. So in celebrating the great achievements of the class of 22, I really want to thank the principals. You can stand here and say, Minister, you've worked hard. I've not even run a school. So it's the principals that ran the schools, and these are the results of principals. And for that, I'm really grateful to principals. To teachers We have an amazing cohort of teachers, energetic, happy. I've seen these happy young people, the young ones with very tight trousers, and ask me, how are you going to take these trousers after this? But you just have a happy cohort of young teachers who are giving their all. I even saw one teacher with flat shoes, with techies. I said, ma'am, techies. Then she showed me that in class I have to sit flat. And she said, Minister, I can't sit flat with high heels. So, and we really are blessed with a beautiful cohort of teachers who give their best. They're in schools over weekends, holidays, and I really want to thank them most sincerely for the support they're giving. The support staff, the parents for the work they continue to do. Again, I say, for me, I'm not sure whether it's COVID that has really woken us up and made us love each other, love education. We really have parents who go out and support our schools in different ways. I visited a school in Cosmos City, program director. The school starts at 6:30. Parents are there before teachers arrive. They leave very late in the day because the community actually spends their time at the school to look after children so that they not only study, but also they can help them, protect them from any social challenges that are there in communities. And for that, I'm very grateful to our communities. I'm very appreciative. As I say, councillors have taken it up, so they don't say it's not a portfolio, we have to deal with potholes. They know that priority number one is education, whilst we sort out potholes and other things, but our children have to be educated and protected. And for that, I'm very grateful to our committees for all the support that we've given us. I also want to thank His Excellency, the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, and I think you can pass that message, DG. I'm really appreciative for all the support that we get in cabinet. He listens to all the things. I know he's going to give us money to deal with overcrowding. We've been raising this to say this thing's going to collapse the system. It's going to collapse the system. And unless there's a major intervention, all the work that we're doing is going to come to nil. But also want to thank my partner and my colleague, Dr. Mhaule, honorable MECs. Basically, it's your work, because you are the ones who do the running around. Even when schools, I accompany you. So these schools are yours. Thank you very much for the hard work. And I know all of you work flat out to make sure that the system works. The heads of departments, the district directors, but also the Temwedi. Even the day about Kubako High, I'll come and be witness. You are innocent. You know Sarobala Malau. So I really want to thank you, and I'll be witness to say, And I really want to thank our strategic partners. Our teacher unions have been extremely supportive. And part of our success is also what they do also within their organizations. All our teacher unions have their own development programs, so that as we work on supporting teachers, as unions themselves support their members, and we can see the benefits of the work that unions do with their members. We are also extremely grateful. So when people stay together, sometimes they don't see things together, but it doesn't make us bitter, but it makes us partners. And thank you very much for the support. I want to thank also the SGPs. Even during COVID, when it was tough, I used to run to them to say, please help me, man. These are our children. Convince also the parents to send kids to school. And I really continue to be very grateful and appreciative. And I really want to thank our business partners. I want to thank the NECT, which also helps us coordinate business because it's easier to work with a collective. So, Babu Hassan, I'm really grateful for all the support that we get from the NECT. I'm very appreciative. So I want to thank the NECT, our statutory bodies, who Malusi says, ELRC, the researchers who work with us, because we cannot do without them, because they are the ones who really give us scientific and informed information about the work that we do. And I'm very grateful that most universities have outreach programs. so that when they also intervene and support us, they have the first-hand experience of what is happening in our schools. So I'm very grateful to really the university and the academics and the researchers that are part of the sector. Professor Palim, thank you very much for really using your skills for the good of the nation. I want to thank sister departments who help us on an ongoing basis, South Africans who together with us made the stability and the improvement of the sector their responsibility. Without support from the communities, we'll be in trouble. We'll be a fish outside water. We'll die. So I really want to thank all the communities that work with us. And I want to single out, as I say, the MTN for sponsoring this event and the private sector who have contributed meaningfully over a period of time in the work that we do. They support us in provinces, they support us in districts. In some instances, they support schools on their own. For that, we're very grateful. Once again, let me conclude by thanking the class of 2022, in all ordinary public schools, but also in all our independent and private schools. Your future is in the palm of your hands. I'm preaching to the converted. I say make the correct decision. These have already made the correct decision by being the top, but yeah, I had written, so I have to read it, that make the correct life choices. For those candidates who sat for the 2022 NEC exams and earlier exams, as the DM says, please do not despair. We have a special program, a second chance program, and I'm not saying them the second chance program. You must pass once if you can, but you have not passed retain. You will definitely get support from us. But I really want to say and thank everybody. Also thank the governing party for already saying education must be a societal issue. And I'm glad that in all our difficulties, MEC, and all our differences, we don't politic around education because it's at the heart of our nation. So, and I'm very grateful for the support that we get also from the different opposition parties in supporting us with the work, the concerns that we raise, we take them serious, but also thank the chairperson of the portfolio committee for always supporting us and sometimes being hard on us, but siyabulela ke, even nobusingcolisa, but siyabulela. Asizivula namhlanje mos. I'm referring to the member from DA. I really always appreciate sometimes when you raise things, because you're taking and when you take a raw food. So nam dikungcolisi ke mawuba roof. But thank you very much for the support and ongoing vigilance that you give us. And district directors can work it. Oh, maluma ngibona ngikhona ngiyabona sibi. Thank you very much. Akulingana la khona sibiya khona masingosibiya ngithe babuyela ngamahlahla. Ngiyabonga.
It is now in our hands to sustain this performance. Everybody has a role to play in improving numeracy and literacy levels. We all can join the Read to Lead campaign, which is part of the broader reading revolution currently underway, led by the NECT. We will need to focus on learner well-being, ensuring that our children are protected from social ills, and the provision of school infrastructure is one area of critical importance. Quality education towards 2030. The Department of Basic Education. Every child is a national asset.
All right, many thanks to you, Minister Angie Motshekga. I mean, you talk about the overall results increasing and steadily going up consistently since 2009, and I think much credit does indeed go to your department, and certainly the work that goes into bringing, you know, these students that we see today, these learners that we see today that have achieved so highly, and some who aren't here, but certainly much credit does indeed go to the Department of Basic Education, and certainly the Minister, if we can give a round of applause once again. So of course, we hear that the results this time, 80.1% pass rate, which certainly is very impressive. Right, we get to the part that is quite exciting, the most exciting part of the evening. Minister, not to say your speech wasn't exciting, but certainly the time where we award the top achievers, the top candidates of 2022. I do believe, Minister, you will be on the stage indeed to congratulate those learners that are with us then this evening, the top achieving learners of 2022. And just a word, as the Minister said, it really certainly is an effort that is a combined effort by whether it is the parents or the teachers, the principals, and certainly the Minister did acknowledge them. I have my own former teacher in the audience today, Mrs. Partridge. I think you can wave to everyone there. So, keep in touch with these special teachers, and they are so special, and they've certainly helped you to be where you are today. So, all right, let's get to that award part of the program. And as we start with the quintile 1 achievers. And I will ask yet again, as I had asked in the beginning, that you leave your applause for the last student, who will be the first student. I will certainly indicate when you can start to applaud. So it won't be after each candidate, but certainly I will indicate after each section as to when we can applaud. So let's begin then with quintile 1. We begin in the province of the Eastern Cape. I see the MECs are very sort of competitive about all of this. So we'll see at the end of this who really has the big guns when it comes to the achievers. We start in the Eastern Cape at Doli Senior Secondary School, and third placed is Guiba Nonkenge. And then we come to Mpumalanga Highveld Secondary School, second placed Batobile Penelope Ngambule. And we come to first place coming from Gauteng Province, IR Lesulang Secondary School, in first place as Busiso Matebula. Can stand up. All right, we'll have a photo opportunity for the winner of each category with the Minister, and indeed their certificate and award that they will be holding then for us up there. Gauteng MEC.
Try to be slow as we can.
All right, and just a reminder of the provincial performance while we do indeed wait for the MEC there. The Free State is indeed the leading province at 88.5%, an increase from 2.8% from 2021. Gauteng achieving at 84.4%, an increase of 1.6% from 2021. All right, let's come to mathematics, and certainly we are still in quintile 1. We begin with the province of the Western Cape, Rondebosch Boys High. Third placed, we have Jason Frederick de Villiers. And from KZN, Westville Girls High in second place, Priyasha Naidu. And from the Western Cape again, Rustenburg Girls High in first place, Kelly Grace Pross. Kelly, you may come up. Western Cape MEC, you may come up. All right, the Western Cape achieving 81.4%, an increase of 0.2% from 2021. I think the MECs are going to be coming up and down quite a lot. Maybe we should have positioned you closer to the stage. All right, let's move on to quintile 2. And the minister has asked that even those placed third and second, if you can wave or stand up so that we can just sort of see you and acknowledge you. Let's do that, all right? Let's start with the Limpopo province, Sekosese Secondary. Third placed is Kodiso Mutua, and that's from Limpopo. In KZN, yeah, that is from Limpopo province. And in KZN, the school is Impiamandla. Second placed is Mthokozisi Nkomo. And moving on to first place, then we have from KZN, Congo High, Sihle Kumalo. Please come up. All right, and just a reminder of how KwaZulu-Natal did perform. The best improved province there, achieving 83%. That's an increase of 6.2% from 2021. So certainly KZN doing something right there, being certainly the most improved province. Congratulations, MEC, and certainly to you, Sihle, coming in first there. All right, let's move on to technical maths, a subject I was not so good at. We'll start in the province of the Free State. Comtech, third placed is Tozamile Funeka, and that's from the Free State. KZN again coming in at second place. The school is Inanda, Newtown Comprehensive. We have Untando Lundogutle Sbia. All right, and coming in at first place in Mpumalanga, the school is Hazy View Comprehensive. Student name coming in first, Lucas Lebogang Chulwane. All right, so that is in Mpumalanga. Mpumalanga achieving 76.8%. That's 2.9% increase from 2021. All right, let's move on then to quintile 3. And we'll begin with the province of the Eastern Cape, the school name Nyanga Senior Secondary School. In third place is Kanyisile Landingwe. From the Western Cape, at the School of the Center of Science and Technology, coming in at second place is Atenkosi Konzani. And our first place student coming in from KZN, the school being Mhlaweni High. In first place, Asanda Ngobo. Again, showing why KwaZulu-Natal is the most improved province, achieving 83% there. MEC, I don't know if you should sit down. I think you should just wait here. Just grab a chair. All right, let's move on to yet another subject I wasn't so great at, physical science. And we'll start with Limpopo again, Sekgopoche Secondary. And we come to the third place, who is Moeletsi Lehumo Tladi. KZN coming in again here, Masib Bumbane High. In second place, we have Lefaletu Sibonelo Zigote. Again, first place, MEC turnaround. This is from Impiamandla School. First place is Mthokozisi Nkomo. You're screaming, you can come up. You can come up and take a photo. Come. Are you the parents? Come up. Come up. Come. We might as well acknowledge you. Come up. Come up. Don't be shy now. We heard you. Come, take a picture. Come. Are those your parents? Very happy. Very happy. All right. Let's give her a chance. Let's give her a chance. All right. KZN really coming in here. Doing well. We congratulate certainly the province of KZN in their achievements. 83.0%, an increase. That's a marked increase of 6.2%. All right, let's move on to quintile 4 then, and we begin with the province of the Northwest, Zniaville Secondary School, and third place we have Safia Wadi. And then in KZN, coming in second, Pendugani High, Sina Kokonke Siaya. KZN again coming in first place, Mount View School. Nikita, please come up. Nikita Govender. KZN doing very well, as we can see. Congratulations. All right, certainly congratulations to our learners and our high achievers then with us this evening. All right, let's move on to, we're still on quintile 4, and we move on to technical science. Mpumalanga, DD Mabuza Comprehensive School. In third place, we have Brutus Isaac Nkomo. Free State, Comtech coming in again. Second place, Ganeto Elliot Lekisa. And finally, my province, Gauteng Province, Madiba Secondary School. In first place, Tebogo McDonald Musiwa. Gauteng Province achieving 84.4%. That's a marked increase of 1.6% from 2021. Wait for your parents, wait for your parents. And as you say, certainly a group effort, and we know the kind of hard work that the parents do too in helping these learners. All right, let's move on to quintile 5 then. I have to mention, here is where the Western Cape is shining, so you might want to be ready to stand up. We'll start with third place here was Hoer Jongen School Paarl. In third place, Kenneth Jansen. Second place, Western Cape again, Bloemhof High School, Simone Anna Martin Low. And in first place in quintile 5 is Rustenburg Girls High, of course in the Western Cape as well, Kelly Grace Prowse. Right, the Western Cape achieving 81.4%, and that's an increase of 0.2 from 2021. All right, we come to the South African Sign Language. We'll begin with the province of KZN. And in third place, we have Shukudo Tando Iloka from Kwatintwa School for the Deaf. Also from Kwatintwa School for the Deaf in second place, KZN, Stogozile Fortunate Luthuli. And from Gauteng province in first place from Philadelphia, Bongiwe Mkwachwa. Gauteng province achieving 84.4%, an increase from 1.6% from 2021. And of course, we're noting, of course, that the Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal and Limpopo were able to produce a combined total 95,393 diploma passes, which is equivalent to 49.3% of the total diploma passes nationally. All right, and then we move on to the special needs education, and let's start then in the Eastern Cape, the Ifata School for the Blind and Deaf in third place, Ati Tongile. Representing Gauteng province from Philadelphia School, in second place is Tulani Moses Lobane. And in first place, we have Limpopo Province, Rivoni School for the Blind, Tsepo Maguela. All right, now we get to the big one really of the evening, and that's the 2022 NSC National Top Learner. That's the top learners in the country. Very important this is certainly, and we have two to congratulate then who are the 2022 top learners, one from Western Cape, one from KZN, so both MECs get ready. From the Western Cape, we have the school Rustenburg Girls High, Kelly Grace Prowse, and representing KZN from Alfala College, Husna Hafaji. I think we could stand for both of these learners. I'd also like to request that all MECs please come onto the stage so that we can take a photo opportunity with the two top learners of our country. Certainly, please give them a round of applause. So the overall winners then being the Western Cape and KZN, if one is to look at it that way. Very good. Congratulations to Kelly Grace Prowse as well as Husna Hafaji. You've done well. You've represented your schools well, and you've represented the country well, no doubt, being the top two learners throughout the country. All right. All right, I think, well, that's where we close, but I am going to call up, though, for the vote of thanks at this point. I think while all of this is happening, let me at this time, I have the pleasure to welcome onto the podium Director General. I think he was giving us a breakdown, really, of how each of the provinces performed earlier on. And DG, can you join us on the podium? DG, please come up to the podium. DG Ntanzima Mweli, who will give us our vote of thanks for this evening as we wrap up the event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Program Director. I see the celebrations are going on. Oversight structures of Parliament are involved. I thought they were neutral. And even though they come from different provinces, at least they are national Parliament oversight structures, so they don't favor any province. Okay. Flo, thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity to thank SABC for having afforded the nation to view this live from the beginning up to the end. Not even load shedding could create serious glitches. And as a program director, you did exceptionally well. Give her a big hand of applause, please. I also want to, Minister has extensively done so, but I'm just going to add to what the Minister has done. Thank and appreciate all oversight structures of Parliament, Select Committee, the Portfolio Committee. Serving a Portfolio Committee is a real joy. You never get to feel which political party you are accounting to. It's a real multi-party forum. And they really hold us accountable. And I want us to give them a very big hand of applause, including the Select Committee. Including the Select Committee, the Chair, Honorable Killian, I'm sorry that I did not acknowledge you. Thank you very much for holding us accountable. Our entities, which includes Umalusi, Tsarona ke sa badula mmoho. Ntwa ke ya badula mmoho, ntate Rakometsi. Re tla boela re bona hore re di etsa jwang. Sotho ha se tolokwe. So thank you very much for supporting us. I also want to convey, the Minister has already thanked our social partners, all of them, all our entities, all our sister departments, including the Presidency DG. Thank you. You've been supporting us from Gauteng when you are still DG for Gauteng, and you continue supporting us. Give DG a very big hand of applause, please. She's now in the highest place and she continues supporting us. And will continue to work very hard. Okay, and then my colleagues, HODs and MECs, thank you for your leadership. Our minister and deputy minister, it's very difficult to get away with anything with minister and deputy minister. The problem is that they've been in the classroom before. It's worse with the minister. She comes from a family of teachers. I'm telling you, if it doesn't make sense educationally, it will never fly with her. And the same applies to the MECs. They really hold us to account. Credit goes to your leadership. Let's give them a big hand of applause. Thank you very much. And to our HODs and district directors, Minister, I'm influenced by these district directors. They don't go home also. This past few weeks, my children have been asking me every day, are you coming back home? And it reminded me that I've been going away from home too often. And they were actually surprised that I'm home at least for a month. But I'm influenced by these men and women who work extremely hard. They don't actually influence me, they inspire me. These guys, they stay with learners in camps, in schools, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know, they don't seem to have a family life, including teachers. I mean, teachers and school principals. Let's give them a big, big hand of applause. And lastly, to our sponsors, wonderful members of our corporate world who invest in the basic education sector. This morning I said, the future does not belong to us, it's borrowed from our children. If you invest in our children, you invest in the future of our country. And I want us to really put our hands together to our sponsors led by our wonderful MTN. You know, if I was not afraid of politics of soccer, I was also going to say MTN Kabuyelo. So let's give them a big hand of applause, all of them. It's because I'm a big fan of another soccer team that goes with the yellow. Not this one that came yesterday, you know. And lastly, let me thank the organizers, Mr. Mhlanga and the team, the wonderful exam team, led by Dr. Rufus Polia, who has 34 years of experience in exams, Dr. Polia. I mean, Dr. Rakomets. 34 years. So, Prof. Balim, the Youth League of the ASC must be very careful. We've got 34 years of experience in only one member of our team. It's just for a lighter note. And thank you to each and every one, parents who have supported the class of 2022, and to you, class of 2022, we want to say to you, you are a can't get. If you get, you can't buy. Creme de la creme, the cream of the crop, top dogs of the class of 2022. Thank you very much to all of you. Thank you.
Was supposed to end there, but I think the event is over now. I understand that there will be dinner served, so certainly you can go have some refreshments. And thank you all very much for being with us and attending this wonderful evening with us. Many thanks to you.
Hello again. Now the top performers of